So I'm almost 30. 30 years old. I'm almost the big 3-0. Which I don't think is a thing people say. I think people say like the big 50, big 50, big 60. And I'm over halfway there to 50. That's crazy to think about. Don't start thinking about that. Don't be like me and start thinking about that. No. Yeah. I'm almost 30. And I've thought a lot about life, as one does, I think, especially as one gets older. I think we start to think a lot about life. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I do. I still, like, approaching my 30s, it's like, I really want to enjoy every moment as it comes. So instead of, like, I've spent a lot of my life kind of living in the past, dealing with a lot of the things that have happened in my past. I've spent a lot of time ruminating. Is that the term? I've just spent a lot of time thinking about things of the past. Oh, here was a big fluffers. And I've also spent a lot of time, like, thinking about and, like, fantasizing about my future. So kind of living in the future too. I've done that. I've had the best of both worlds, the past and the future. It's really been a journey for me, like a learning journey, for me to sit in the present, for me to be with the moment. But I think that takes practice. It really does. And as I've gotten older, that's something that I've tried to practice more often, more regularly. So, like, I've just tried to remind myself to take little moments of the day and just, like, okay, just be here for this. Just be here for this moment. So, like, if I'm eating a meal, it's like, just think about how this meal tastes right now. Just, like, savor this. Or, like, this morning when I was at work, it was raining a little bit, and there was a rainbow. And I did take a video. I did take a video to send to my husband. But I also just, like, let myself be in the moment of just, like, admiring the rainbow. And it's little things like that it's little... Sorry. It's little things like that can anchor you to the moment, that anchor me to the moment of just, hey, just savor this, just enjoy this right now. So approaching my 30s, I've thought a lot about, like, how I want to enjoy every moment, what I want to be doing, and also just not to think too hard, which is hard, because I think a lot, and I overanalyze and all this, and it's like, oh, you know, I'm halfway into this, like, this mentality of, like, oh, but I need to be, like, I was thinking about this at work today. I was like, I'm not using nicotine anymore. I've been vape-free since last September. Wow, it's a long time. I've been nicotine-free since last September, or October, something like that. I think it was September, though. Anyway, I was like, I'm nicotine-free, you know, I'm not drinking, I'm working, and I'm going to be going back to school, and, like, I'm focused on my health and, like, good habits, and it's like, I want to keep up with that. I have this mentality of, like, I want to keep up with that. then there's this other part of me that's like, but we gotta have fun while we can. You know, and that doesn't mean, you know, get addicted to nicotine again. Because that was the thought that I had. I was like, I could vape some more. Not like I wanted to, but just like, I could, right? Then I'm like, but no, you know, I already did it for like 6-7 years. Like, I don't need to go back. I already had my 6-7 years of nicotine. But, yeah. So thinking about approaching my 30s, and I tried for a really brief stint a couple of months ago to try and experience my approach to my 30s in the same kind of way that I did when I was like in my 20s. I'm still in my 20s, but like my young 20s. I was just like, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can experience my early 30s the same way I experienced my early 20s, because I'm really not trying to get blackout drunk all the time and like make out with everybody and just like not give a shit about myself. Like, that's not where I'm at. So trying to approach my 30s like that, it's like, obviously that doesn't work. Trying to approach my 30s in any other way than what feels good and what feels right now, I feel like it's just not gonna work. So if I'm trying to approach it in a way that I've done before for a previous time of my life, it's like that's still kind of me living in the past. Does that make sense? So I'm trying to think about like, okay, I do want to have fun, because what goes on in my head is just like, I'm never gonna be this again. I've been thinking a lot about that. I've been freaking myself out about it too. Because I have like hella anxiety about time. I have hella anxiety about like age. Because I'm like, I'm never gonna be this young again. I'm never gonna be 29 again. I'm never gonna be 30 again. It's like one day I'm not gonna be able to move as well as I do now. I'm not gonna be able to take care of myself as well as I do now. Hopefully I'll do it now, start taking care of myself really early so I can take care of myself for as long as possible. But there is gonna reach a point. I am gonna reach a point where it's like, it's not the same anymore. Like, I'm not gonna have the same mobility. I'm not gonna have the same kind of face, if that makes sense. The same kind of body. Like, my skin is gonna start sagging. I'm gonna get wrinkly. Like, I'm gonna get old. I have some crazy fear around that. It's just the fear of like, it's not even the fear of getting old itself. It's like, that's not even the fear. The fear is like I know I'm gonna get old. The fear is just like, I don't want to be old thinking back on like, oh, you should have done that. And I think we probably hear that a lot. Just like, you don't want to get old and like regret never doing the things that you wanted to do. So, but like having to balance that now, like financially and with like long-term goals that I do want to accomplish, like getting a higher education, and like that takes years, and so these kinds of goals. But it's like, I can still enjoy my life, and I can still make the most of things as much as I can, and that's kind of the goal. That's the goal approaching my 30s, is just, I am gonna make the most of things, because I'm not gonna have this ever. I'm not gonna be here ever again. This is the only time I'm ever gonna be this version of me right now. This is the only time I'm gonna be able to experience life in the way that I am experiencing it now. And so every moment, like, I want to remember, this is it. This is, and what's ironic about that is that that sometimes puts an enormous amount of pressure on me. If I think too much of like, make the most of this moment, then it starts putting this pressure on me of like, what is the most that I can make out of this moment? Like, what can I do to make the most out of this? Like, what can I do? And there's just like, so much to think about when it comes to that, and that's a whole rabbit hole that I can get lost in. And but even this, like going down the rabbit hole, like having this anxiety and like thinking about all this stuff and talking about this and making this video, it's like, even this is the moment right now. This is it. And like every single moment, it's just like, this is it. Every single moment is just the moment. It's like whatever you're doing in every single moment, it's like, fucking enjoy it. Make the most of it as much as you can. So that's how I'm approaching my 30s. No pressure.